More now on the President-elect's endorsement of Nigel Farage as the UK's ambassador to the United States. Brexit Secretary David Davis says there's no vacancy as Britain already has a very good ambassador. Joining us to discuss this, Foreign Affairs writer, formerly of this parish, Tim Marshall. Tim, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
On one level, it's a non-story, this, because it's not...
It's a great story.
That's why I brought you in. Because it's not...
Shall I go?
That was Tim Marshall. But, you know, it ain't going to happen. But it's interesting how we got here, and it's, you know, government by Twitter again.
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, he's guaranteed that Nigel Farage cannot be the ambassador to the United States of America, because then the UK government would be seen that the United States president gets to choose who the ambassador is. So, I mean, it was a pretty far-fetched idea anyway, but it's completely guaranteed he can't be now. But Trump trolls UK. I mean, he's tweaking the tale a little bit. He didn't say, I want to offer the job. He said, many people agree.
Many people meaning him?
Yes, meaning him. But he is trolling the UK. He's having a bit of a laugh. You can't rule out Mr. Farage and him cooking it up, because it keeps Mr. Farage front and centre in the headlines. And you might remember, since that famous photograph, I mean, I think it's 10, 11 days now, he's been in the news every single day.
Which was a bit more accidental than it might have seemed. I mean, they went more to Trump Tower in hope than expectation, didn't they?
Yes.
Suggested, I think.
Yeah, there was the Team Farage.
How should it work? In whose gift is the ambassadorship?
Essentially, the Foreign Office says this is the top echelons of the Foreign Service, and this person would be very good, and the Foreign Secretary signs that off and takes it to the Prime Minister, and then it's in the Prime Minister's gift, essentially. At the very highest level, Her Majesty the Queen signs it off, but it's for the Prime Minister, and it's pretty rare that a Foreign Secretary would be overridden. Mr. Darroch, Kim Darroch, who's in post at the moment, is one of the most seasoned senior government servants that this country's had for the past couple of generations, which is exactly why he's in position. And again, you know, they had to come out and support him. There is no way in hell they can ever make Nigel Farage ambassador. But the secondary thing, and this is where I think the serious side of the story comes in, is that Trump and Farage both think that actually he could play a role as being a bridge. And although that hasn't picked up traction yet, you can make a cogent argument for Mr. Farage having some role to play. Because if he can help smooth the way to a better trade deal, why would you let politics get in the way of that?
It's Liam Fox's point, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think, you know, there is some merit in that argument, and I think behind the joke headlines, and I said on day one, Trump is good for news. I'm not sure what he is for the world, but he's good for news.
But Number 10 have ruled that out already, haven't they?
Yes.
They said last week that there is not going to be any, there's no sort of go-between role available.
Why not? If he was a Lib Dem, do you think there would be the same reaction? I mean, I am not making a case for UKIP, for or against. I am not taking sides. I'm trying to look at it completely dispassionately. If he was a Lib Dem or a very, very senior member of the Labour Party and had a fantastic in with the President-elect of the United States of America, would there be this blanket no way? Is it because UKIP is still somewhat toxic?
Or is it because he's seen as a loose cannon?
Yes.
You know, that he's not controllable, is he? They can't tell him what to do, whereas maybe somebody from the Lib Dems who...
But does that exclude him from some form of role within?
It turns it into a political appointment. That's the key thing. The Foreign Office will be doing cartwheels because, you know, the way they are part of the civil service take instruction from politicians. You can't give instructions to a politician, right? That's the problem.
No. If I wanted the best trade deal I could get for the United Kingdom, and I thought there was a way to put him as part of a team, not in charge, because they couldn't do that. But I put to you again, if he was a very, very senior Lib Dem, it's because he's still considered as a toxic brand, despite getting, 3.5 million votes.
And also the ambassador to the UK in America, they don't just, you know, act as somebody in between the government and the American government. They have lots of other functions, don't they? I mean, there is a lot of parties, and Ferrero Rocher is being handed out, isn't it? There's a lot of soft power stuff happening as well, and that is equally as important, isn't it, to the British government than the political stuff? Could Farage do that as well as he might be able to relate to Trump?
Well, Boris Johnson is going around the world going bosh, very well. No, but this stuff, this is soft power. You know, he does have a role to play, and the heavy lifting looks to me to be going on elsewhere. But there is a role for soft power. Mr. Johnson actually can often charm people. He didn't charm the Germans last week, but he can often charm people.
Didn't charm the Italians either.
Are we missing a trick here? I'm pretty sure, we were talking about this just before we came on air, that the Americans parachute quite high-profile people into the embassy here. Have done historically.
Yes.
So it's seen as a big personality-driven, almost celebrity-driven gig in a way that our Foreign Office don't see it.
Yes, but it's a completely different political culture. Just to say, the Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom is normally chosen by the Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister, on a political basis. So it is in the United States. And often, if you're going to go to Kyrgyzstan, it'll be the civil service, the American civil service and the State Department, which will choose because the president probably doesn't even bother. But if it's a key plum appointment, Paris, Berlin, possibly Mexico City, possibly Russia, but it's absolutely 100% London, it is always a political appointment by someone who is on the president's side. They're there not just as a civil servant, they are there because they agree with the president's world view. And it'll be very interesting to see, Mr. Bazan has been here some time, the current ambassador. It'll be very interesting to see who Mr. Trump might want in. But, you know, he is a new broom and he's doing things different ways. We're not always going to like them.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Tim.